They have just returned from one of the most ambitious space missions in modern history. And now the Artemis II crew is finally speaking. What they revealed in their first press conference is changing how we understand space exploration. Welcome to DSG HERALD News. Just days after their return to Earth, NASA's Artemis II astronauts stepped forward to share their experience. A mission that has reignited humanity's journey beyond the planet. But beyond the headlines, what really happened out there? During the press conference, the crew opened up about the realities of deep space travel, from the physical challenges to the emotional weight of leaving Earth behind. They described moments of awe, seeing Earth from a distance, surrounded by the vast silence of space. But they also revealed the unexpected, the pressure of the mission, the mental demands of isolation, and the responsibility of representing humanity on a historic journey.
Thread in the four of us, and whenever someone would slip out, it was amazing to watch the other three pull them back in, and what a glorious thing. Anybody want to add anything for integrity? It's just such the perfect name for this group and this spacecraft.
We're going to take a few more questions here in the room and then go over to our phone bridge. Just a reminder for those on the phone bridge to please press *1 when you're ready to enter the queue. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Nick Notario with ABC 13. I want to talk to you all about the magnitude of what you all just did. So to give you some idea, ABC, on the splashdown coverage alone, 10 million people watched our network that day. Just splashdown. That's not the launch, the lunar flyby. And I got to tell you, one of those viewers was my daughter, Ellie, who turned 4 during your mission. And she was mesmerized by what you all were doing. She wasn't talking about her big Bluey birthday party. She wasn't talking about the gifts that she got. Every night I came home from JSC, she said, "Daddy, Ellie go to space." She was infatuated. When you hear stuff like that, and the amount of people that were interested in what you've done, has the gravity yet hit you about this mission? And, how has it changed you as well?
First, I just want to thank you for sharing that. That is wonderful to hear about your daughter. That's awesome, and thank her for that, creating that story. We landed on Friday. Tomorrow will be 1 week, and I just was trying to live in a little hole for 1 week. Been off social media, not on the news. So no, I don't know. But my kids have made it pretty clear, my neighbors, and it's hard to live in a bubble nowadays. I'm trying very hard, but I think it's what I've come to realize is we did what we said we were going to do. Yep. And now we've got to step out and just face that reality. And so that's a great thing, but I'll figure it out tomorrow. Courtney started this by saying the crew is ready. I'm really not, but I will be next week.
Do you mind if I add something?
Yeah. Please.
It's the way you word it. I mean, I love your question, but you say what you guys did, what the four of you did, and we just don't not see it that way. We should be rewording that question to what we did. That's what this was. We just went up and did what we were going to do. All we saw was a camera. We didn't have that connection with you. We lost that connection with Earth by and large. And so we just leaned into what we had. We leaned into each other and mission control, which is really all we had in our families a couple times. But we did that because we had been lifted up and supported to just go up there and be ourselves and just do our job. And we went into it thinking, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be good enough. Seems like it was good enough.
I'll add a little bit, just my personal perspective. When I got back, as someone who doesn't necessarily like attention, I don't like the birthday song being sung to me, any of that. My husband said that before I got back, he had a conversation with my brothers and sisters, and they were like, who's going to tell her? Because we didn't know. And in fact, what we were told, really through talking with a couple times with our families, was that there was an impact. Not necessarily the number of viewers or anything like that, but that there was a positive impact, that it was superseding any lines, any identities that people had. And When my husband looked me in the eye on that video call and said, "No, really, you've made a difference," it brought tears to my eyes, and I said, "That's all we ever wanted." Yep. And I can tell you that the difference now is when we come before you now, we've done this together. We took your hearts with us, and your hearts lifted our hearts. And now that we've done it, I think it's easier to accept that there's attention on the NASA teams, on the fact that we did it. You know, in the beginning, 3 years ago, we were being celebrated for something that we hadn't done. And having put in the work and having seen our team's successes, I think we're ready to share in that inspiration and to celebrate it.
Okay, we'll take 2 more here in the room and then head to our phone bridge. Kristen, go ahead.
Hi, Kristen Fisher with The Endless Void, and welcome home. It's been such a joy watching how much this mission has gotten people so excited about space. My question's a little bit deep, so bear with me. When Apollo 14 astronaut Edgar Mitchell was returning from the moon, he had an experience so profound that when he returned to Earth, he devoted the rest of his life to studying the nature of human consciousness. And it's a theme that all 4 of you touched on to varying degrees at some point during the mission. And so my question is, now that you've been back on Earth for just a few days and had a little bit of time to sit with it, do any of you feel as though you had an experience similar to what Mitchell described, this sense of universal connectedness? And did you experience somehow a shift in consciousness somehow? Thanks.
Yes. Chris, it's a great question. The only thing I can do is just share one quick story. When I got back on the ship, I'm not really a religious person, but there was just no other avenue for me to explain anything or to experience anything. So I asked for the chaplain on the Navy ship to just come visit us for a minute. And when that man walked in, I'd never met him before in my life, but I saw the cross on his collar, and I broke down in tears. It's very hard to fully grasp what we just went through. And in these short, you just said it's been a week since we've been back, but it's been a week of medical testing, physical testing, doctors, science objectives. We have not had that decompression. We have not had that reflection time. So I'm basing this on what we saw. And when the sun eclipsed behind the moon, I think all 4 of us, I turned to Victor and I said, I don't think humanity has evolved to the point of being able to comprehend what we are looking at right now, because it was otherworldly and it was amazing.
The only thing I would add is that beautiful thing. First of all, thank you for sharing that. That was a really special moment. I was in the bed right across when the chaplain came in, and the only thing I would add is I am a religious person, but everything else is the same. There is something in there, and as we start to process, I'll have to tell you next week, but haven't had a chance to really unpack it all yet.
All right, we'll take 1 more here in the room and then head over to our phone bridge.
Yeah, maybe not as deep, but connected. Keith Garvin with KPRC2 here in Houston. Thank you so much for taking us on your journey, and so glad that you're home. You know, with the technology that we have today and what we can do with videos and pictures and social media, it can still be very hard for one to convey exactly what they're seeing to everyone else. What is the most remarkable, or one of the most remarkable experiences that you all had that just couldn't be fully properly conveyed through pictures and video? And that's for any of you.
I can start. I was going to answer Kristen's question a little bit too, and I think these tie together. I've been trying to find words for it. I don't really have it yet, but we just saw so many amazing things. And people ask what's the most amazing one, and you can't pick one. There's just so many amazing experiences we had. But overall, where I keep coming back to is what kept grabbing my attention when the lighting was right and we were looking out the window, is that I kept seeing this depth to, I guess, the galaxy, for what we were visually observing out there, this depth to the galaxy that I just had never experienced before. And it's not that I could tell which stars were really closer and further, because it has to do with how bright they are, but because of how bright they are and their differences, they look like you can tell where they are in 3D. That was mind-blowing for me. And then you see the same thing with the moon and the Earth. You're viewing them from this new perspective, but this perspective with 3-dimensional depth. And I mean, I've heard Christina talk about this a lot. We're all kind of struck by these things that make us feel small. And that the sense I had was this sense of fragility and feeling small, infinitesimally small. But yet, this very powerful feeling as a human being, like as a group. And that is what, to me, is what I would try to share. I saw it in all these sites over and over again. I kept seeing that same thing and that same feeling. Small and powerless, but yet powerful together.
Beautiful.
Okay, we'll head over to our phone bridge. Our next question is from Nell Greenfield with NPR.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. Tell me about your sleep. Have you been having any dreams of the moon? And if so, what have the dreams been like?
I can take this one. I've got a couple things I can say on that. One, been sleeping great since we got back. We are tired, so I think our bodies were ready to accept any time zone of sleep that we offered it. And what I've noticed, which is completely different from my first flight, and surprisingly so, since my first flight was so long, is every time I've been waking up, or in the first few days, I thought I was floating.
100%.
I truly thought I was floating, and I had to convince myself I wasn't. And even after 328 days in space on my previous mission, I never did the thing where you think something will float in front of you. I've done that on this return for some reason. I put a shirt in the air and it went. It actually surprised me.
This mission is more than a technical success. It is a human story. Artemis II marks a turning point. For decades, no human has traveled this far beyond Earth. Now, NASA is not just exploring space, it is preparing for a long-term human presence beyond our planet. And this raises bigger questions. Who gets to go next? What does this mean for global space competition? And how soon before humans return to the moon permanently? For countries like Nigeria and across Africa, this moment is also a reminder. The future of space exploration is global, and participation is expanding. The Artemis II crew has returned, but their journey may have just begun, not in space, but in shaping the future of humanity beyond Earth. Would you take that journey if given the chance? Subscribe to DSG Herald News Channel for more global stories that matters.